Hello, my name is Stacia, and I'm just a girl on the internet that likes to talk about movies. And this week we're going to do our first Christmas movie of 2025. And I use the word movie lightly because this is actually the 1966 television special, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This was a 30-minute special that originally aired on CBS television on December 18th, 1966. And yes, there have been other versions of this. I think in 2017, 2018, Benedict Cumberbatch did a version of this, an animated version of it. And also, we all know the Jim Carrey live action version that came out in the early 2000s. But for my heart, what has my heart is the 1966 version. That is the version I grew up on. These other versions did not exist when I was a child. And for me, this is really the one that has stood the test of time. Now, this, of course, is based on the Dr. Seuss book of the same name that came out in 1957. It was developed with Dr. Seuss and Chuck Jones together for MGM, the first and only animated Christmas television special that MGM ever made. The person credited in this as the narrator is Boris Karloff. He is also the voice of the Grinch. And when you watch it, he is basically the only one credited, the only actor credited. But it does star Jone Foray as Cindy Lou Who. Dal McKinnon is also the voice of Max, the Grinch's dog. And Thurl Ravenscroft is actually the singing voice of the Grinch. Those songs were not done by Boris Karloff. And the music for the songs, which of course the book doesn't include, although this movie does follow the book very closely. Of course, they added in the songs for the special. The music is done by Albert Haig, but the lyrics are done by Dr. Seuss. Now, having Boris Karloff was not Dr. Seuss's idea for the person he wanted to voice the Grinch. He thought that kids would be too scared of Boris Karloff because he is Frankenstein. But Chuck Jones overrode that, and it was his decision to use Boris Karloff as the Grinch. And I think we're all familiar with the story of the Grinch. The Grinch is this grumpy figure that lives about 3,000 feet above Whoville or north of Whoville. Although in the special it's 10,000 feet, and the book it's 3,000 feet. But he is the grumpy, crotchety, mean guy who is turned off by all of the joy of Whoville, and he really wants to ruin their Christmas. So he devises a plan on Christmas Eve to go and steal all of their presents, all of their Christmas food, all of the decorations to ruin Christmas. And he does this with the reluctant help of his dog Max. And he comes across Cindy Lou Who while he is doing this. He is dressed up as Santa Claus, so Cindy Lou Who thinks he's Santa Claus, but in the end, the Grinch has a change of heart. So of course, How the Grinch Stole Christmas was shown on TV every year for several years following the original broadcast in 1966. That is how I originally saw it as a child. That's how most of us originally saw it before it was eventually released for the home video market. But a lot of these became classics because of their constant showing every year on television. This is my preferred version of the Grinch. I don't know about the staying power of the other versions of the Grinch, although it seems like the Jim Carrey version is a favorite of millennials, which I am not one of those. So the animation of this is based on the look of the book also. Although Dr. Seuss thinks the Grinch looks too much like Chuck Jones, and Chuck Jones did draw inspiration the dog Max, his personality is based on the childhood dog of Chuck Jones, and Cindy Lou Who, she is based on the look of Chuck Jones's granddaughter. But besides the television special in 1966, MGM released an LP version in conjunction with the television special. In the recorded version, Boris Karloff does all the voices, including Cindy Lou Who. And it includes a longer version of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Although more recently they have released the actual television version with Thurl Ravenscroft doing all of the songs. Now, as a lot of television specials in the 60s, it was brought to you by a company. A lot of things were Nabisco or Virginia Slim or stuff like that. For The Grinch That Stole Christmas, it is sponsored by the Foundation of Full Service Banks, which they would go on to sponsor the broadcast until 1970. After that, it was sponsored by Nabisco and then the Reynolds Metals Company, Reynolds Wrap. And CBS had repeated viewings every year until 1988. That's how it became this Generation X classic. And then it was caught up in the buyout of MGM's inventory by Turner Broadcasting System. After that, it started showing on TNT. Although I don't know where it's shown now, I know it is available on the Peacock streaming service. But it was a big hit when it came out. Its initial airing, it was rated number 6 on television for the week that it aired. And then a year later, it actually ranked number 2. It was rerun on the second airing behind A Charlie Brown Christmas. And it continued to be a rating smash. So I will keep this one short and sweet, like the special How the Grinch Stole Christmas itself. And that is the first movie I am suggesting that you watch during this Christmas season, the 2025 Christmas season. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. I love you all. Bye.